everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 2 of TRIGUN StarGaze! I had convinced myself that these episodes were coming out on Fridays, and I was really disappointed yesterday when it never came out. And I was like, no! But it's coming out on Saturdays. That's okay. That's fine. I can work with that. But I just need to adjust my calendar as I prepare to watch those episodes. So yeah, we're on episode 2. Super excited about that. I do have some comments and things I want to talk about before we start the episode. One is from K. Gerd NG Nudgra. That username, saying for episode 1, they said, I think the eye imagery in the beginning is a reference to this certain character. They put manga spoilers in there, not Knives. In Stampede, there's a scene in episode 11 where Knives and Vash discover this character's broken body being kept alive in a tank with one of her eyes staring at them. I wondered about that too, and I told them in my reply that would make sense, except it seems like it's present in present time when it's happening. So unless it's just a weird flashback that isn't explained properly in the scene, I don't know if that's the case, but I'm open to that interpretation. So I'm glad they mentioned it, because I'm like, if it turns out to be the case, I'll be like, okay, then it was just a weird flashback that they didn't quite get in there well, in my opinion, but we'll see. Sunspots says, I love that we got to see Zazzy so soon. They provided my favorite conversation in the episode with Meryl. There's no exit to that maze. What a line. And drawing a parallel between Meryl and Knives was very interesting. Yeah, Meryl and Knives being on two sides of the same coin with that discussion is just wild. I absolutely love it, but it has me so excited to see where that's gonna go this season, so we'll see. Finally, though, I want to talk about this information that Shimoyama had brought up in the Discord that was actually from TRIGUN StarGaze's production committee. It says, we are deeply saddened to share that Mrs. Tarako, who voiced Zazzy the Beast in TRIGUN Stampede and TRIGUN StarGaze, passed away in March of 2024. Ms. Tarako's ability to fully embody the unsettling nature, dignity, and endearing qualities of Zazzy was an immense source of support and inspiration for the entire production staff. The sorrow we felt upon receiving the news of her passing is beyond what words can express. However, as TRIGUN StarGaze adopted a pre-scoring process in which voice recording was conducted prior to the animation production, we were able to reunite Zazzy the Beast as portrayed by Ms. Tarako in episode 1 of the series. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for Ms. Tarako's many contributions and once again express our deepest condolences. We sincerely thank her for everything she gave to this work. From the next appearance onward, the role of Zazzy the Beast will be taken over by Ms. Minami Takayama. We hope that you will continue to watch over Zazzy's journey to the very end, a character brought to life by Ms. Tarako and guided to its conclusion by Ms. Takayama. That's R.I.P. Rest in peace, Miss Tarako. That's so sad. Makes me very sad to see a voice actor. It's interesting to see that they had pre-recorded a little bit. So I guess that is good in hindsight that they were able. I like that they were able to transition her from her voice acting from Stampede into StarGaze. That's really nice. Now, Minami Takayama is an aged voice actress. She's 61 voicing Zazzy. So she has a career since the late 80s voice acting, from Ranma 1/2 to Yu Yu Hakusho, which is like to all the way through Pokemon, through One Piece, through Shaman King. Like, this woman has voice acted Mobile Suit Gundam, Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, they were Envy. Interesting. They voiced Envy. Okay. All right, I'm here for this. And then they voiced in the original Ranma 1/2, and I know Mappa's done a remake. Are they voicing the same character that they voiced 40 years before? They are. You know what? That is the most impressive feat to me, is when a voice actor can take a character they voiced in 1987, and then 40 years later, almost half a century later, voice the exact same character that is likely, I'm going to just guess, a teenager. That's insane. That's crazy. What? What? I don't know Rama 1/2. I know the bare bones of it, but I'm just, for my own sake, want to find out is that, yes, a young character. Yes, they're a teenager. Okay. That's just wild to me. So, cool. Well, kudos to Takayama for taking on the reins of Zazzy, but R.I.P. Stracco. R.I.P. Your voice acting in season 1 in Stampede was really amazing. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, so I appreciate all the comments and all the kind words. I'm so excited. I have been waiting to watch this episode all day. So it's now time that we get into it. So we're going to start TRIGUN StarGaze. I've got my corgi sweater on. I'm ready to go. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's jump in, y'all. Well, color me intrigued. What an interesting episode. I have things to talk about with y'all, and it's going to be very difficult to not get into spoilers. It's going to be very difficult to not get into spoilers. So I have like multiple Trigun Maximum volumes at my feet at the ready. I'm going to try to go through this a little bit without any spoilers at all. And then the spoiler corner, I'm going to break down what I know, but it's going to be very difficult because I had expectations in this episode and they were like, nope, that's not the plan. That's not what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, all right. To be fair, I do have one tiny complaint about the episode, and actually two. One is kind of more meta universal, but one tiny complaint. One, and we need to start this off to get through the intro before, and that'll kind of be my first thing as we get into it. So we're going to look at that here in 3, 2, 1. Why is the intro stationary? Did y'all notice that? The intro like starts out, it felt like a different OP in terms of like, this felt like just, there was no movement. Like it moves a little bit and then there's no movement. Is that like, it moves a little bit there. Sure, it does. But then like there are other parts of the OP that don't move. And I'm like, what? But Trigun, what we doing? So I don't know if it was just, was it on my end? Was it with my, like, yeah, this here doesn't move. I'm like, I feel like the OP was a little bit different. It's a minor complaint, but I'm like, why are we doing that? But anyway, oh well. So that's that. But my other complaint is I had read a little bit online because I have gone to a few Reddit forums because I've already read Maximum. I've already watched the other series. I can't really be spoiled at this point except what happens in this series. And I agree with some other people online that this series is not being marketed like it should be. Like Crunchyroll should be marketing this alongside Jujutsu Kaisen, alongside some other winter releases, and it is not getting its just due. And I don't know if it's just because Trigun is not like the hip new show and it's an elder show, but like, come on now. You should be advertising a little bit harder, Crunchyroll. Get it together. So I don't know why it's not, but it for whatever reason. But this episode was very intriguing. Okay, so Luita and Brad, long time no see on Luita and Brad. They are talking about the fact that they've checked 1 million times and the transmission from the fleet is the real deal. Okay, so we established that it is the colony from Earth that are getting a hold of us. I love seeing Brad. I also like Brad being older in this version than he is in some of the other iterations. It feels more legit, feels more realistic. But what's interesting is that we established that the colony from Earth is coming in about 2 months. I like that this one woman is like, yeah, well, that might not be good. We don't want to count our chickens before we hatch. She knows what's up. She knows what's up. So this young girl, if you didn't know, her name is Jessica, and she knows Vash. They have a little bit of history. You may be wondering to yourself, I don't recall her from Stampede. Was she in Stampede? She was not, to my knowledge, in Stampede, but she was in the original 1998 version of Trigun. And I'm going to show you a picture of what she looked like in the 1998 version. Down here, the comparison. You can see how you probably didn't recognize the character. Now, I have heard some people online complain about this, and to them I say, y'all need to get a hold of yourselves. Because I'm going to be real with you all. I'm going to be real. I love Naito. I love his work. Trigun is one of my favorite series. I love it dearly. But if I'm to criticize Naito of one thing, it is that every one of his child characters looks exactly freaking the same. I was like, everyone. I was trying to be like, is it Lena? Is it Jessica? Is it so-and-so? All the young girl characters look the exact damn same. They look the same. It is so hard sometimes to differentiate which one is which. And I'm like, because he draws them all like young girl character. And they all look like cookie cutters, which is not Naito's fault. I mean, he's the author, so it is his fault, but it's not like, I'm not going to criticize him for it. He just made characters. It's fine. They just have a distinct point in the story and then they move on. But what this is all to say is, I am in total support of Jessica looking different and distinguishable and distinct rather than look like young girl that's influenced by Vash character number 478, because there's a lot of those. So I didn't recognize Jessica at first because she does look different from the 1998 version, and it's been a while since I've seen that series, but her role is relatively the same and she looks adorable. I love her design. It definitely looks modern, but you know, we tweak, we modernize. She's cute. I like it. I also like that she doesn't like Brad touching her hair. She's like, no, stay away from the hair. We don't touch the hair. Like, I like it. I know some people who are traditionalist with Trigun are going to be like, well, they're changing the character designs. And I'm like, it's fine. We also made Alindira a little girl. It's okay. I'm like, if you're fine with Alindira looking different than her manga iteration, then Jessica's going to be okay. And if you have another problem with it, then there's probably another reason you might need to look inwardly about that. But I'm fine with it. I think it's distinct. It just took me a second to realize who she was. And I'm like, oh, that's who she is. Okay, cool. But yeah, so essentially her role is that we've got to talk in the spoiler corner about it. I can't talk about it much here, but essentially it seems like Knives' goons are coming towards the ship to take it over, and Jessica was sent to go find Vash and be like, hey Vash, our ship's in trouble, buddy old pal, won't you come and rescue us? That is essentially what her role has been in this moment. And so, yeah. And then the woman talks about how it's probably good that the ship is coming from Earth, but there's hope. That's good. We're all about having a little symbol of hope, but let's not get our horses before the carts, because Knives is always around and he's dangerous and could throw a wrench in everything. So anyway, I do like, we're going to talk about this. I can't wait. But anyway, so Brad sends Jessica off to go find Vash. And so she is tasked with bringing Vash back to the ship so that he can save them from Knives' goons. That's where we're at with that. I do like the parallels that we're establishing with Jessica and Vash both being sent away by their adult mentor figures, like parental figures, in this case, Brad, and with Vash Rim. I like the parallels. I think that's really good. I think that later on, if something bad happens, especially to this ship, because she's been gone a while, just saying, if something bad happens, I think it will create an opportunity for her and Vash to talk and have a moment of him trying to like work through his previous trauma around her. I think that'll be a good moment. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that to happen. And we cut back to basically her being greeted by Hoppard. And we can see where Hoppard like wrapped his bandana around her head where it was hit. So I want to point out something very, very important in this. And that is that Jessica does not judge Hoppard. I think that is so distinct. At first, she's kind of scared because she doesn't know this person. She doesn't know who he is, so she doesn't know if he's a threat or if he hurt her or whatever, and it takes her a second to get her bearings. But once she gets her bearings, she's instantly like, oh, okay, you're helping me, and you know where Vash is. Cool. And she doesn't judge him. She's not afraid of him. The moment that she touches him, I'll go back to that moment when we get to it, it's so important because just in the last episode, when Hoppard was going through the village, the townspeople were all like, and like all like, go in the back way, monster freak, and like all this. And Jessica doesn't judge him at all. And I think that speaks volumes to her character. And also, Hoppard sees the ship, but he's like, where'd that come from? It doesn't matter, I guess. And so instead, he's thinking of, okay, well, she's in the way. I'm in the process of teaching Vash a lesson, but I guess she'll become part of the lesson. But she shows the picture where she has known Vash from before. And so we get that idea. Now, this isn't a spoiler, but she is known in the 1998 anime, she knew Vash from back then. Although, back in that anime, instead of just a cute little picture of her and Vash, she had this creepy doll. Like, why? But why? 1998 was a different time. So, anyway, he takes her back, which is super cute. She's hurt her leg and she's hurt her head. So he takes her back and she says, "Thank you, Mr. Hoppard." We're going to talk about the manga comparisons in the spoiler corner from Maximum to this. But one thing I do appreciate that this series did was that it does help to give a little bit more complexity and layers to Hoppard's character. He's not just someone that was out for revenge on Vash. He's also someone that was considerate, did care for other people, did have emotions, did have a human range of sensibilities, and also is heartbroken. And so giving Hoppard this episode to establish himself as a character, but also to establish the theme that monsters, quote unquote, as we perceive them, still have emotions and still are worthy of compassion, which I think a good reason of kind of making this setup in this episode is because Knives, who's, this genocidal maniac on the inside, he's just really lonely and scared and hurting for his brother and afraid of being used by the humans around him. So I think that Hoppard is kind of making us a case because we clearly are going to see others later on the series, Knives and Legato and some others that are going to be in that same boat. And so we're being taught in this episode, okay, we can't judge books by their covers. We have to also recognize that these villains and antagonists have feelings and motivations and that they are intrinsically linked with Vash and his actions. And so we have to have that understanding before we move further with it. So I really like it. I liked it. Also, this episode, very the word understatement is a really good word for it. My only critique is that if this were a 24 episode series, I would be perfectly fine with the pace, because I would know we have a lot of content to cover. We need an episode of just being low key, an episode of just being grounded, an episode where the thing I loved about this episode is the OST, the score kind of takes over. At one point, it's just the sound. And I was almost getting distracted by the piano and the jazz. And I was like, I just wanted to listen to the music. It was just so beautiful. And it's so soft and such a somber, quiet episode. And if this were a 24 episode series, I would be 1,000 times okay with that, because I'd be like, okay, I know we have other plot points we're going to get to, but taking our time with this one episode is perfectly fine. And a lot of the 98 anime had those moments too. But again, it was 26, 27 episodes. So you could afford those little long, sombering shots. Here, my only issue is, as far as I know, we only have 12 episodes. So unless they're planning to do another season, a final season beyond this, like Trigun Beyond or Trigun Infinity or Trigun Plants or Trigun Chia Pet or something like that, unless they're planning on doing a season beyond this, I'm kind of like, if we're not doing a season beyond this, then the pacing in this episode, I was just sitting there on my hands kind of going, we don't have a lot of time. And maybe I just need to learn to be more patient. I trust the team. But, we're setting up the stakes. And then that epic line at the end, that's the tagline of all the media and all the merch and everything. We're setting that up in this episode. I did get a little bit concerned that I'm like, ooh, our pacing, we're going to have to pick it up. We're already going to be a fourth of the way through the season next week. So I'm hoping that we get another season beyond this, but if not, I don't know what they're planning on doing with it. So we'll see. But if we only have 12 episodes, you kind of need to set things up and also establish that Vash's trauma is pretty significant. Like her coming in and seeing Eriks, we're going to talk about that, just playing the same note at the piano. The bookend from that to the end of the episode was really good. I loved that a lot. Vash playing the song like Knives. Ooh, there's a couple shots in there I want to pause on because they were like little nuggets that you just wanted to eat. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, and I think if you don't know the manga and if you don't know the original series, then Jessica being so emotional around Vash may not make sense. It made sense to me because I've seen the 98 version and I've read the manga, so I know Jessica's connection to Vash. And now that I know that that's her, I'm like, oh, okay, yes. So if you're a manga reader or you've seen the original anime, then her being so worked up over seeing him and being so emotional makes a lot of sense. I will say if this is your first go around and you've only seen Stampede, you might be like, why is she so emotional? But she's known Vash for a while and she understands, like, she's happy that he's alive, that he survived July, you know? And now she's like, there you are. Now you can come help. But then she sees him and he's just... they do a really good job of making Vash just look so down on his luck in this episode. Look, he has to keep the long hair until he sees Wolfwood. He has to. He has to keep the long hair until he sees Wolfwood. We're going to talk about it in the spoiler corner. He has to keep it until he sees Wolfwood. I need Wolfwood to comment on it. I need Meryl and Millie to comment on it. I need some commentary. Okay. Romania is about to get a bit inappropriate. She asks why Vash is called Eriks, and Hopper doesn't answer at first. And when you find out that Eriks is the name of the woman that he was taking care of, it's like, ah. Also, one little detail that I think is so cool, and it's a minor thing, is that the one picture we see, it's been put down, it's of Hopper and Eriks. It's been laid down on the table. But all the picture frames that are up there are empty. They're empty frames. And it almost has this feel to it like Hopper was getting this house ready for him and Eriks to move into and like getting it all set up. And then she died. And now it's like, what's the point? There's nothing to put in the picture frames. That's a really good, it's so subtle and it's little, but I really appreciate it. So yeah. And then you have the shot of the picture frame that's set down there because then we get the flashback where we find out that while Hopper was gone getting things set up, the entire city of July was destroyed. So Romania is going to get a little bit thirst trappy here for a hot second, and I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I cannot help how good looking Trauma makes our boy Vash. That's not my fault. That is not my fault. It's like that. I'm just commenting on what I see. This part was not thirst trappy. I was like, oh no, poor Vash. He's like just completely like scraggly, the hair, which your beard and stuff grow faster than the rest of your hair, but just completely. You can also see the black that's on the underside there. We talked about it last week, but it's there too. We'll say though, Studio Orange zoomed out far enough. I'm sorry. I know they had to. This is for kids. We got to keep it PG, but I'm like, did you? I want the director's cut. I need the Studio Orange cut. I need the tangerine cut. Where we get a little close up of Vash there. And his poor jacket's all torn up. I need the tangerine cut. Give it to me. Oh, in the gutter hardcore. Look, if Maximum can give us the tangerine cut, you can give us the tangerine cut, Studio Orange. Come on now. But that makes me sad. That means that his poor red jacket, his iconic red jacket is boop the coop. So, I mean, the only other way he can get another red jacket is maybe they get back to the ship where Jessica and them say they need to go to. Maybe he'll get back there and they'll give him a new coat if he can save the day, or he'll get another red coat somewhere else. But he has to have his iconic red coat. He's not Vash without it. So yeah. Then he got taken back to the house. And then I like that Jessica's like, he must have gone through a lot in July. She says it's only natural. I just love Jessica's character here and how understanding she is and trying to process it. And she's trying to also, I think in processing Vash's trauma, it takes a little bit off of her own trauma from what she's just went through. But then it all kind of crashes down and hits her at once and she just can't take any more of it. So I felt for her. I felt for Jessica. And then I like that she acknowledges you've taken care of Vash this whole time. What a layer to Hopper's character. The fact that he did take care of Vash. And Vash points it out later on. He's like, you could have killed me. You could have killed me this whole time. But you didn't. Now, we'll talk about that when we get to the fight scene. But he at any time could have killed him. And this moment here, when she touches Hopper's arm, That just means so much to me that she reached out and touched him to let him know it was to try to comfort him when the people in the town, even though Hopper says they're nice and they sell him milk, like, they don't reach out and do this. So that was really well done. I love that scene a lot. And then she asks why Eriks, and he can't give an answer. And it's just sad. Like, just Vash playing the same tune over and over again. She asked if he's remembered everything. She's like, it's all right. Don't push yourself too hard. And then she just gets overwhelmed because she's like, I need him to remember and I need him to come help because there's so much going on. She's like, you don't know what I'm talking about, but she's like, I really need him to come back. Here's the thing. There's this moment where her and Hopper are just standing there, and that's when he slides him the gun. Obviously, Hopper is thinking this girl is gonna, any chance he has at getting back at Vash or making him feel regret for what he did to Eriks, the real Eriks, he's like, she's gonna blow all of this up. And he's like, I can't risk that. And so he's like, it's time for Vash to wake up. Because I think it was Hopper's intention all along to fight him, but he was taking care of him and kind of, it was his intent all along to fight Vash, but he was, one, waiting until his weapons got remade, which they do by the time they fight, and two, he was savoring this. It's kind of bizarre. There's like a crazy Vash Hopper ship that I never imagined in my life to be existing, but if you told me you shipped them based on this, I'd be like, okay, I don't deny you that. That's a valid ship to have, because it's so like crazy dark that he was reliving the moments that he had taking care of her, doing the exact same thing with Vash. And the fact that he bathed her the same way he bathed Vash, he brushed Vash's blonde hair the same way he brushed her blonde hair, he took care of her and dressed her and did all that. I'm like, it's the same thing. And there's a layer of just underneath that of him doing all of that for Vash, like he did for Eriks. I feel like Cynthia Erivo. It adds layers. And then I love when he throws him the gun. And he's like, I'm going to kill the girl at sundown. It feels so Western. It feels so much like a Western. It's like, you got till sundown to meet me on top of the hill or the girl's going to die. It just felt like a Western. I mean, the episode's called Unforgiven, which is a classic Western title that's called The Unforgiven. Like, it's the same thing. I'm like, it just felt so on the nose, but in a good way. Yeah. And he's like, no, Eric, no, Vash the Stampede. Also, the sound design in this episode, the sound design of just Hopper's breathing apparatus and the breath going in and out, that was peak, top tier indeed. But yeah. So yeah, and then Vash sees the gun. I like that we get that one moment of like him we don't see his eyes. Vash's eyes are so key in this. They're such a big part of his character. And we see the light start to show up in his eyes again at this. So I wondered when we saw Hopper with the thing with the cloak over it, I was like, is it a cage? Is Jessica in a cage? But he just like put her off to the side. Again, showing Hopper has some layers of care to his character because he wasn't going to just put Jessica in immediate danger. So that's something to note. And what was under the sheet were his gauntlets. And I'm like, oh, okay. Got it. Gotcha. And so, yeah. And then as we're waiting on Vash to show up, we get the flashback of him. And what's kind of crazy is, again, he finds Eriks. I wonder if he calls her Eriks because she was by an exit. Exit, Eriks. I wonder if there's a connection there. I don't exactly know. But she is in the pile of trash there. And she's positioned in a similar setup as Vash was against the hillside, against the mountainside. Like the way her body's positioned is very similar to Vash's. Also the fact that he went back to make sure that whoever hurt her didn't hurt her again. And when he reaches for her, she can't see and there's blood all over his knuckles. I'm like, that, again, I like Trigun a lot because Trigun is such an action-filled show, but there are moments in this series so far that they don't have to tell us. You just see the knuckles with the blood on it and you're like, oh, he went and killed those people. that hurt her. That's exactly what happened. And the show doesn't say it, but you just see the bloody knuckles and you immediately know what happened. I freaking love it. They won't bother you again. Yeah, that sight there. And the reason she recoils is likely because even though she can't see, she can smell. She probably smelled the blood on his hands and was like, what is that, right? Or it was the fact that he was a stranger and she didn't know who he was. Crazy. But he took care of her. And then everything. I like that he talks about it being dark. The darkness had a bottom, and it must have been what she saw for the longest time, just in this lightless world, because of the actions of this guy and Knives causing July to fall. The sad thing about it all is that it really is primarily Knives' fault. I mean, Vash is responsible. I'm not trying to take blame away from Vash, because he did end up causing July's destruction. But had Knives not done what he did to Vash, had he not lured him in there, had he not done all that, then it wouldn't have happened. So I feel like Knives is just as much to blame as Vash is, these two brothers. But that's such a shot. I love that. I'm glad Vash hasn't cut his hair yet. I don't want him to. I want him to stay long-haired Vash as long as he can. At least until Wolfwood sees it, because that shot there, that is angst personified. That is just angst in the most tangible form possible. Oh, it's such a good shot. I love it. Can I make Eriks the thumbnail for both episodes? Also, Studio Orange, oh my God, that shot there, if you lose, I'll kill her. That shot there of Vash with the black streak going down and his face is just in the shadows and he looks absolutely miserable. Why would you do that to us, Studio Orange? Why would you do that to us? That's so tragic. Maximum has some really sad, horrific Vash shots in here in this series, but Studio Orange, they're giving us a run for their money. They're making Vash so angsty. Vash is Ash. They're giving us such angsty shots of Vash. And I also like just the details of Vash's clothes being like the belts. He's so scrawny. The belt's like too loose, and like the pants have got holes in them, and they're just scraps that are sewn together. You're gonna have to kill me in order to save her. That's always the thing. Is that Vash is being tested. He's like freaking Batman. You're going to have to like kill someone to save another, and Vash doesn't want to do that. And so we find out what he was making. It was not a rocket ship. It were these gauntlets, which they were in the OP. So there was that. I'm going to be honest. I really thought Wolfwood was going to show up based on the OP, but that's what I get for assuming. So no, instead Wolfwood gets run over again. It wouldn't be TRIGUN without Wolfwood getting hit by a vehicle. Right? So he fights Vash, and he's like, I want to fight you and get back at you for basically causing the woman I love to be murdered. So yeah, it's such a sad fight. And in that moment, Vash's eyes, like the gleam comes back in his eyes just for a second. Oh, he looks so good with long hair. It's not fair for him to look so good. There's another streak of darkness down his hair there. That shot's just so good. It looks so good on him. And he holds him back. Vash, oh my dude. Which all he's had is porridge the last 2 years, so that shot's really good too! Like, Studio Orange, they just do such a good job of animating him. They do such a good job of animating Vash. He looks incredible there. Every frame of that shot of him is so good. Also him doing the flip and grabbing the gun, and he was gonna shoot. He had the shot, and then the moment that Hopper told him to shoot, and we see all of the similarities between what he did for Vash and what he did there, then Vash can't do it. He's like, go on, shoot me. The fact that he's like, I like your hair. Oh my gosh. Ugh. And he says, what's wrong? Oh, our angsty boy, our angsty Vash. Bless his heart. He's been traumatized the last 2 years. And he's like, do it like you did in July. That was the shot. That was the shot right there where Vash is like, July, my trigger word. Because, yeah, and for Vash, I feel so bad because, again, it wasn't totally him. Knives was also the primary reason. And then we cut back to before that distorted space. The electrified air. Yeah, and that shot as Hopper's going back before he realizes the city is going to be wiped out. The unending despair. Oh, that's so sad. He even positioned the chairs and the bed, everything in that space, he positioned to look exactly like their space they were living in. Oh, that's rough. That's so crazy. He's like, that was the moment. Yeah, and it's all just wiped out like a crater. It looks like an eyeball, like the iris. And then you see like her robe there that's just like against the rock. What you took from me was half of my entire being. I love the shots we get where it's inside the mask and we see the cross thing that's from the manga of him. Yeah, half of my being. Like she was half, I devoted half of myself to her. Oh, it's so good. And then poor Vash again. Why are we traumatizing this bean? Why are we traumatizing this little bean? He doesn't deserve that. Yeah. Vash was not ready to come out of full trauma mode yet. He was not quite ready for that. No. And Vash is like, I've been in a long dream. I like that Vash explains that he was kind of expecting Hopper to kill him. He was like, if you had killed me, I would not have complained. Because he's like, I would have deserved it. And he's like, why didn't you? He's like, I was thinking about that somewhere in my mind. But not now. Not anymore. I can't let you kill Jessica. Yep. And Vash is like, look, I can't let you kill this innocent person. If it was just me, it wouldn't have mattered. But I really thought that, because it came down to, I was like, Hopper is probably going to have to die, but how is that going to work? And then, that shot of Vash. Anytime they do Vash shooting a gun, it's great. And a lot like in the manga and the original animated series, Vash's whole thing is he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to incapacitate you. And then that usually stops it from going any further. This shot here of him just like, it's such a crazy thing to see Vash holding a gun and then this small child as she's like coming to. But yeah, and Jessica's little hug. Oh, that was so sweet. Nope. Nope. And then we have Hopper. And Hopper grabs the gun while it's loaded and makes him fire it. Why we gotta make Vash do that? Why? I was wondering how Hopper was gonna die. What I thought was gonna happen was I thought Wolfwood was gonna come in at the last minute and kill Hopper. But that wouldn't have made as much sense. And I kind of like this better because I like this motif of you picked up the gun to fight me. I know you're chickening out and you're not going to get the job done. He's like, but I'm going to make you because this is the consequence of your actions. And poor Vash is just absolutely heartbroken. And then I like that we get to see Hopper without his mask on. Also, the two of their eyes in that shot looking completely distraught is really well done. Poor Vash. Yeah, And then he's like, you live to suffer. That's roll credits. That's the tagline on all the merch. You live to suffer. You don't get to die, Vash. You have to live and watch everything else. He's like, I won't kill you. You have to survive in this cesspool of a world, all the while coughing blood. Oh, what a line. And I think that was Hopper's whole thing from the beginning. He's like, I don't want to kill you. I want you to suffer. And so I'm going to either kill people around you and make you kill me and then have to live with your guilt or of losing that person anyway. Or even if you save that person, I'm going to make you kill me and live with the guilt either way. The guilt of someone that brought you back to life and nursed you back to health and you had to kill them. Like, that's just oof. Oof. And then I did love this scene of her, like, the ribbons coming out. It was giving me all Bungo Stray Dogs vibes, if you know what I'm talking about. It's giving me the Bungo Stray Dog vibes. And then they come out and she actually sees him. This was really sweet. Him, like, saying Eriks and reaching for her. And the thing is, when he reaches for her and says Eriks, that's her name. But then Vash is the one who grabs his hand. I don't need this in episode 2. I don't need this happening in episode 2. We're only 2 episodes into this season. Already you're giving me this? Giving me this? Layered business? Anytime Studio Orange is like, I'm going to give you sad Vash, I'm like, you might as well give me a dying kitten because it's just as sad. I also like Jessica giving Vash the behind the back hug. That was really good. So they buried Hoppard, and I like that Jessica recognizes that he did help her as well. And then he's like, our home's under attack. I'm sorry, Vash, I wanted to leave you be. And he's like, that's all right. The only one who knows our home's location is Knives. That's what Luita and Brad think. And he's like, Nye is alive. The fact that he still calls him Nye instead of Knives. Vash. Oh, buddy. And then him playing the piano. There's this one shot where he starts to play the piano and he starts to get into it. This one shot, I want to pause on it and show you. He's thinking of Rim. He's thinking of Knives, thinking of their home. This one moment where he kind of gets into it. Like that shot is so good. But then he also like starts to play even further. And there's this like fire in his eyes. This like fire of him coming back to life in his eyes. Oh, it's so good. I'd watch the episode for that still alone. Yes. That just, and the way he gets like into it after that. Oh, it's so good. I freaking love it. Yep. And then we have Hoppard's picture of him and Eriks up there. Yep. Damn. Okay. I also like this like red poncho, long-haired Vash look. I like it. It's very Western. He just needs a hat. And he's all set. He's got the gunslinger look. I like it. But they're on their way. And wouldn't you know it, Vash has been sighted. And so Millie's like, well, look. Oh, Vash has already showed up. And Meryl's like, well, as you know, if in order to determine the truth behind something, Meryl looks feral in this shot. And I love Meryl with this hairdo. She looks so feral. Her and Knives being two sides of a similar coin is an interesting choice. But yeah, and then what happened? And then Millie's like, well, look, there's somebody right in front of us. Jesus, take the wheel, indeed. Jesus, take the wheel, indeed. Meryl recognized him. Wolfwood's like, son of a bitch, every time. It's a good thing he can regenerate. Right? That's so brilliant. I love it. And then that's the episode. All right. We got these cool concept arts at the end, which I want to talk about with y'all real quick. So there's that shot of the dock there. There's all of these with the plants. There's this shot here of what looks like Knives. And then, we'll talk about that. And then, yeah, interesting. Memento Mori. Oh, man. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Anyway, this episode was great. I talked a lot more than I thought I would about it. I don't mind this episode. My thing is, I'm going to talk about some of the differences between Maximum and this. And look, I know that some people are not going to appreciate that this isn't following Maximum like beat for beat, but to be real, Stampede was so much different from Maximum in the 98 series that I did not walk into StarGaze expecting that to happen at all. Because it just can't happen. Maximum is a much different tone. It is a much different tone. It sets things up in a much different way from Stampede. So you just can't do it. It's just the timeline and everything with the events is not quite the same. So I appreciate this series taking a different approach. I don't mind it. If you want Maximum, go read Maximum. And check out my manga reactions while you're there. So we'll talk about it there. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to talk about some spoiler things. So if you're sticking around for that, awesome. But otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with more reactions. So memento mori means an object serving as a warning or a reminder of death, such as a skull. You know, something that's like on the side of Legato's arm, so who knows where that'll go. I'm glad we're keeping long-haired Eriks around a little bit more, long-haired Vash around a little bit more. Like I said, I don't mind the Jessica twist of her looking different. It really does not bother me at all. It is what it is. I like it. I don't find a problem with it. One thing that I am curious about is how we are going, if we're going to show Lena or not, because Lena is the name of the woman that Vash and Wolfwood encounter when he's in Eriks mode. And Lena is the one that cuts Vash's hair and shaves his face, and him and Wolfwood like get back on their merry way going towards Knives. Now, by that point in volume 1 of Maximum, they haven't run into Meryl and Millie yet. In this version, Meryl and Millie have already run into Wolfwood. So the question is, are we going to see Lena again in the future and she's going to have a talk with Vash and whatever? Or is Jessica kind of our Lena surrogate and Wolfwood? If Wolfwood shaved Vash's face and cut his hair, I would be in Shipper's Paradise. But I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe Meryl will cut Vash's hair and shave his face. I'd be in Shipper's Paradise about that too. So we'll see. Or maybe Vash will shave his own damn face like a grown-ass man. I don't know. He's a 150-year-old plant. He can do it. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But Lena is the one that originally does it in Maximum, and Wolfwood's the one that kind of convinces him to come back in the saddle again. Cue Aerosmith. That did not happen in this. So I'm curious to know like how long he's going to keep the long hair. I'm presuming a pretty long time because the OP shows him with long hair quite a bit. I'm not complaining. I'm all about it. So we'll see where that ends up going. The one thing is they kind of are foreshadowing that the fleet's probably going to have trouble when they get down here. Okay, here's the thing. We see showing up Knives as goons, we see it's Leonoff. It's the puppeteer. Leonoff the puppeteer, who is in volume 2, the second deluxe volume, presumably volume 3 of Maximum is Leonoff. This storyline in Maximum is freaking creepy. And what it is that Leonoff, the puppeteer, replaces a large number of the people on the ship with puppet versions of them that literally fall apart when Vash is holding them in his arms. It's creepy as hell, but Vash and Wolfwood infiltrate the ship to try to find Brad and Louita and the others. So I'm curious if that's where we're leading. If Vash is going to meet back up with Meryl and Millie and Wolfwood and Jessica, and then Wolfwood's like, well, hey, I'll follow you to the ship. Or maybe they'll all go together. I don't know. Maybe we all saw the worms at the end of the episode. Maybe Zazzy's going to get involved. We'll see. But in the original, Vash is fighting Leonoff alongside Wolfwood, and Legato is involved, Mid-Valley is involved, Zazzy gets involved. Zazzy gets an upgrade in Maximum, which I'm going to be curious if we get to that, but we'll see where that goes. But I'm excited because I really like the Leonoff storyline. The puppet stuff is creepy as hell. I'm curious if they're going to do whatever they do with it, so that'll be interesting to see. But as far as the storyline with Hoppard, I actually really like it in StarGaze. Because in the manga of Maximum, you have to understand, Maximum, you don't really get to Hoppard's storyline until like 4 volumes in. And by that point, Hoppard really isn't as... They don't connect Hoppard's storyline like they do here. Instead, Hoppard is fighting Vash. And as Vash is defeating Hoppard, you kind of like learn why he's fighting Vash, why he's part of the Gung Ho gang. And it's because of the Eriks storyline here, although she's not, I don't think she's called Eriks in this version. I think she's just a woman, and that's all we know her as. I like that she's called Eriks, and that's the tie-in. I thought that was clever. But in the Maximum, because it's so battle heavy, and it's just fight after fight after fight, it kind of becomes like a villain of the week sudden backstory moment where as he's fighting Hoppard, he's like revealing his backstory. And then what ends up happening is that Legato gets pissed off and actually triggers Vash having to kill Hoppard. And Legato essentially gets involved in it all. And it's just a big old chaotic mess. It's a big old chaotic mess. But Hoppard ends up dying. And Vash inadvertently ends up being part of the reason that he dies. And then he says the line in the manga, in the deluxe volume, it's on page 407, where he says, "You live and suffer. I won't kill you. I'll let you live on, spitting up blood day by day in this shitty world." So it's almost a direct, beat by beat comparison. Yeah. And then just like now one thing that's really cool is at the end, he sees her in the manga, but we don't see like her bandages coming off. I thought that was a nice touch that they did. It was really cool. And then Vash ends up being found by Meryl and the others whenever Hoppard dies. So the thing is to set it up for it to be like it is in Maximum, this battle between Hoppard and Vash, the circumstances are so drastically different that you just can't do that. And so I feel like just as it was in Stampede, we need to set up Vash getting his bearings back. Also in this version, Vash and Wolfwood, like Vash goes through another instance where his hair gets cut in Maximum. I don't think they're going to do that in this, but one thing I am sad is I don't think we're going to get Sarcophagus Legato. And I really want Sarcophagus Legato. That would be so funny. That'd be so camp. But yeah, I don't know. But you have to think about it too, in that Alindira is different from Maximum. The scenarios are different from Maximum. It's just a different story, and that's okay. I think Hoppard's storyline in this was different than just being a gung-ho gang member that gets killed in a brawl. But I think it led us to some really good moments, like with Vash playing the piano like Knives. Oh, that's so good. That's so juicy. I love it. And the fact that now Vash is on his own, but he has Jessica to keep him grounded, and now Meryl and Wolfwood and Millie are going to get caught up. Like that part is good too. So I like that. I like that it changes it just a little bit, where it is these characters tempting Vash, but at the same time, they're not. I like Hoppard not being necessarily a gung-ho member, because he kind of ends up getting used by Legato in the manga, and here has his own agenda, and it makes him separate from it. It adds a little bit of a layer too, that it's not just the gung-ho gang and Knives versus Vash. In this version, Hoppard is a citizen that just ended up having a beef with Vash because of his actions, and he wasn't directly tied to an organization. I like that twist. I like that it makes Vash feel like his actions have a little bit more consequence, which I really, really like. Poor Vash in this. But yeah, I don't like seeing our boy sad. And then as they take off, Meryl and Millie are looking for him, and they stumble across Wolfwood. Where's Wolfwood's motorcycle? We'll just have to wait and see. I love it. I love poor Wolfwood. Why is he walking in the desert alone? I love it. Also, that little line of him just flying in the air. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, Wolfwood. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how Livio and Legato and Mid-Valley. Mid-Valley has me hyped. They probably won't do anything with him, but I'm really hyped just to see him in this. Mid-Valley has like a whole storyline in Maximum that we probably won't see, but I hope he does. I hope he does. Don't let me down, show. So anyway, that's enough from the spoiler corner for me. I've talked for like almost 50 minutes. I'm super excited, y'all. I cannot wait to see what episode 3 gives us. This has been such a fun series so far. This episode was so sad, but we've got to get Eriks out of the house. We got to get Vash back in action, and we're taking our first step towards doing that. So what else can we do? But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah. I'll be back next week with episode 3. How are we already a fourth of the way through the series? I don't know. But I'll be back next week with episode 3 of TRIGUN Stampede. And I'll see you then. Bye.